All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We're going to talk about storm chasing in Pennsylvania. We're going to show you some of the great weather photos that we've taken here in our home state. Real quick, Pennsylvania tornado history. This is a map of all the weak tornadoes in Pennsylvania in the last 50 years. As you can see, they're distributed pretty widely. If you live anywhere in Pennsylvania, you got a chance that you might have seen a weak tornado in the last 50 years. But then when you get the strong tornadoes, you start to see that the mountains kind of get cut out of the picture because strong tornadoes are less likely in the mountains. And then as you get stronger still, now we're all the way up to an F4 strength tornado, and there have only been a handful of those. This long one here is the big one in 1985, if anybody remembers that one. And then for the strongest type of tornado, Pennsylvania's only ever had one, and it started in Ohio and just barely made it into Pennsylvania. I think that was probably the 85 outbreak also, wasn't it?
The tornado Jesse just showed you in the forward frame, that's the one that took out Kingsville Railroad.
Oh.
Okay.
And then this is really hard to see on here, but if you look at a satellite picture of the area where the 1985 tornado tracked, the blue is the official track, which is not exact because back then they didn't really track them except between 2 points. But this lighter area that you see here is the track of the tornado. And this is a satellite picture from just a few years ago, so you can still see the tornado scar that it left from all the way back in 1985. And believe it or not, we did have satellite and radar back then. This is a satellite image of the thunderstorm that produced the tornado moving across Pennsylvania at 6:30 p.m. that night. And this is what the radar looked like back then. You didn't really have a map. You didn't really have.
Yeah.
But we were able to take this radar echo. Henry Margaret City AccuWeather and I took this, and we're able to plot it on Google Maps. And so this is Center County here, Clearfield County. So this is as it was plowing through the northern part of Clearfield County, headed towards Center County on that fateful night in 1985. We really haven't had a storm like that since.
It's a tornado up there.
And so you can see the way you look at a weather radar picture and determine the tornado is that you can see this hook echo here, which means that winds are circulating into the tornado. The tornado itself would be inside of that blank space in there. Now, storm chasing in Pennsylvania, just some words about storm chasing in general. Obviously, if you watch television, if you've seen Twister the movie, how many people have seen Twister the movie? A lot of people. If you've seen that, you kind of get an idea how storm chasing is, although of course it's dramatized. And if you've watched Tornado Chasers or Storm Chasers on Discovery Channel, I think the Weather Channel has a storm chasing show, you get an idea what storm chasing is like out west. And it's a lot more exciting than it is here in Pennsylvania generally. When you look at people who storm chase, generally it's either storm chasers who follow the weather for thrill or profit, or storm spotters who stay generally in a static location. But you can do both. The National Weather Service's Skywarn Spotter program allows you to call into the government and report severe weather to them, which helps in issuing tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings. So I do recommend that you check out your local National Weather Service website to attend Skywarn training so that you can be trained to be a Skywarn spotter. Now, as you may have heard last year, on May 31st, unfortunately storm chasing turned deadly out in the plains. And a couple of scientists got too close to one of the largest tornadoes ever recorded. And unfortunately, 3 of them were killed by that tornado. Up until that point, storm chasing wasn't really considered a dangerous vocation because nobody had been hurt. But last year proved that differently. And if you want to go chase out west, and you want to be safe about it, there are actually a number of organizations where you can sign up basically for a storm chase vacation. It's rather expensive, and it usually lasts a week or two to make sure that you catch some tornadoes, but it is something you can do if you'd like to chase with the big guys out west. It's safer to do it with a group that knows what they're doing and has the tools to keep themselves out of harm's way, as opposed to trying to do it yourself. So one of the themes here at the Weather Discovery Center for last month was clouds and what they can tell us. So here's a couple examples of storm-related clouds. This is a what they call a shelf cloud, and this is actually a picture I took at AccuWeather headquarters in State College. So that's the AccuWeather building there and a couple of our satellite dishes. Basically, when a thunderstorm's headed towards you, it pushes air out from it in a circular fashion, and you see almost a circular type shelf cloud headed towards you. And I can show you the time lapse of this, not this particular storm, but a different storm from last summer. If I can find my browser here. This was also a storm in State College. Now I've got to endure an ad because we're on YouTube. Skip ad. We can skip ad. So this is a time lapse. So what I did here was I had a camera automatically take thousands of pictures and then put them together in real fast motion. And you can see there's some people, this is up at the top of the parking deck in State College, there's some people running around looking at the storm there. But as it comes in, you'll start to see the definition of the shelf cloud as it approaches the location here. This is over a period of like probably 20 minutes.
When was it taken?
This was last summer. I want to say August. It'll show the date at the
Hey
end.
Jess, hit pause for a second. Hit pause if you can.
Mhm.
I want to show, this is perfect, okay? I'm going to talk about this later, but if you look on the right-hand side, lightning, and you'll hear me talk about this, but lightning will always follow the closest distance to the earth, usually. So you'll see scuds off on the right, okay? And those scuds that are coming down will normally produce lightning strikes, okay?
June 25th was when that one was. And so,
Say that again, Ron.
Here's a better imagery of a
here,
scud.
I'll skip ahead. What Ron's
Yeah.
talking about is a scud cloud.
Okay.
And these things here that look like tornadoes hanging out of the clouds, this was another picture I took in State College last year, the year before. They are shaped like a tornado, but if you look closely at them at the time, they weren't rotating in any way. They were just kind of breezing on by. Those are called scud clouds. And you have to be careful because when you're doing storm spotting and chasing, you can't be fooled by tornado lookalikes. The scud cloud is one example. And this here, with this vertical structure that looks like a tornado as well, is actually just the shelf cloud that we looked at before, but now it's on top of us, and there's a trick of perspective that kind of makes it look like it's vertical when it's really not. And then one other kind of severe weather cloud is the wall cloud, and that's basically a piece of the cloud that comes down from underneath a severe thunderstorm. It's pretty rare to see those in Pennsylvania, but when you do see them, it can indicate that it's a precursor to a tornado.
We had last year, I had two of these that last storm in Chicory last year. I didn't see it. Henry, when we had the video of Henry at AccuWeather, said to Jesse, here's a wall cloud, there's a tornado, and we actually picked up two tornadoes on the film that day.
So if you look at Pennsylvania from the perspective of severe thunderstorms, it's generally kind of the loser state. There's a lot of reasons that severe thunderstorms don't do well here. When they come in from the southwest, they get disrupted by the mountains, and when they come in from the northwest, the elevation decreases and they dry out. And then sometimes stable air will back up from the east into the southeast part of the state and not allow thunderstorms to form too. So it's good for property owners, obviously, and people who don't like storms, but for storm chasers, it's a tough place to live. There's a lot of disadvantages to storm chasing in Pennsylvania. One thing is that there's dangerous lightning throughout the storms because the storms are disorganized. Out west in the plains, where they have the large tornadoes, there's actually a reason the more storm chasers don't get struck by lightning. Generally, in a big thunderstorm that's well organized out there, the lightning that hits the ground stays away from the tornado, the high winds, and the hail. It just occurs in a different part of the storm. Here in Pennsylvania, they're more disorganized and there could be lightning anywhere in the storm. I certainly recommend if you're going to go out and look at storms that you make sure to keep yourself in the car. And there are things that Ron will demonstrate, tools that we have, allow you to remotely control your camera from inside the car and that sort of thing. Because the car is a relatively safe place to be during lightning. There's also bad visibility in Pennsylvania because of trees and mountains. It's hard to see. It's hard to video and photograph the storms. You can get into sticky situations where there could be a tornado coming down. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't be able to get out of the way quickly enough. The roads are not. The roads go around the mountains here instead of out in the plains where it's like a matrix layout of roads and it's easy to twist and turn. And that's what you see the storm chasers doing out there. And of course, questionable cell phone and even satellite phone reception because of the mountains.
Whoa.
But if you try hard enough, you can still get great storm photos in Pennsylvania. This is a photo I took October 2010. I took it from the top of a mountain down southwest of St. College. And the thunderstorm is here, and you see the lightning strike coming out of it, and this is the sunset over here on the left. And this is a type of view that you normally see in the plains. Because they don't have many trees and mountains out there.
Now mind you, this picture here, just to give you an idea, Jesse's in Center County, looking west, okay? Cambria County, where I'm at, is to the west, and that lightning strike we determined is in Cambria County, just to show you the distance that it covered.
So how to document storms in Pennsylvania. Safety is number one. I talked about lightning being a bigger danger here than in the plains. You always want to carry with you a hands-free cell phone. Don't text while you drive. You want to call in your spotted reports to the National Weather Service first before you get out the video camera. There's a number of tools, again, that Ron can demonstrate that can help save your life while you're storm chasing, like the original auto escape tool, which allows you to get out of your car easily in case of a flood. And you want to know your area. Sometimes in Pennsylvania, Ron and I find that it's easier, if you want to photograph the storm, it's easier to just stay at home or go to a nearby scenic vista than it is to try to chase the storm around the mountains. And then equipment, again, we have some demos of this. You want multiple communication devices. You want multiple sources of National Weather Service alerts so you know if severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings come out via your cell phone and the weather radio. You generally want multiple cameras and tripods. Binoculars are a good idea, trying to see stuff in the distance. Ron will demo our quadcopter that we use that has a camera attached to it and does aerial photos. And then Ron put together a neat little thing last year, which is made out of a kitchen egg timer, believe it or not. And what it allows you to do is allows your camera to move as it's taking pictures with a time lapse. So you can essentially get a moving panoramic time lapse. And this is just a test that I did last summer with that device. So it's kind of a different way to do videos. And then I talked about the quadcopter. Ron can show that to you. This is an example of an ad on YouTube. All right, YouTube. Here we go. Let me. So this is a picture video taken from the quadcopter that Ron will demonstrate to you. I have to let this download here so it won't keep cutting off on me. So I actually just took this quadcopter off from my own driveway at home and took this video of an incoming thunderstorm.
I think you should pause and let it pop.
Yeah. All right, it's getting ahead of itself now. So now you can send a quadcopter up with a camera on it, turn the camera around, and look at storms from a distance, even if you're in the trees.
But the only problem is, okay, remember, what we don't see can hurt us, okay? The Phantom can fly at 40 miles an hour. But in a thunderstorm updraft, we have winds upwards to maybe 60, 70 miles an hour. And if the Phantom were to get caught in that updraft, we would never see the Phantom again. It'd be gone. It just would be gone. Now, they are GPS guided. We can find them, but Reed Timmer on TV on Tornado Chasers, tornado, at $1,000 a clip, they were flying them into the tornado.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I mean, so.
Well, it's nice to have a TV station bankrolling that for you.
Yeah, right. A couple other tools, talking about software on your phone. We recommend the Radar Scope app on your phone because it shows your position, which direction you're looking, shows the storms coming in, shows the severe thunderstorm warnings. And another good thing to use is on AccuWeather.com, there's something called MinuteCast where you put in your street address. And it gives you a picture of the radar and it tells you exactly when the rain's going to start, whether it's going to be light, heavy, or whatever. over the next 2 hours. So that can be really helpful looking for approach of a storm to your location. But we do recommend you join the Pennsylvania Storm Chasers. If you're not already there, you can coordinate, interact with other storm chasers, upload photos like Ron and I do almost every day, and videos, and talk to other chasers. And then there's a resource sheet here which is printed out in your packets. There's a lot more I could tell you about storm chasing in Pennsylvania, but there's a couple links in here that go more into depth. And there's also links to the Storm Chasers page and the AccuWeather.com photo gallery where you can also storm photos. So hopefully storms are ahead for those of you who want to see them and chasing. Now Ron wants to get through a couple specific photos now and talk about them, and I'll help him out a little bit.
Okay. I'll just stay there and keep, okay guys, storm chasing just isn't filming the harsh environment, okay? We go out and the weather encompasses much more than lightning and tornadoes, okay?
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just.
As you can see, the first picture was my sunset picture, okay? All right, now, for you young guys, okay, if your teacher's in school, you want to get a lot of credit, get a camera, take pictures of the sunset, of clouds, and use them in art class, all right?
Okay.
But on this particular picture, I took a picture of a sunset, and I had
One here, and of course it got reflected on the building, so it's almost like there's 3 rainbows. There's a signed picture of that included in your packet. This is another example of those lenticular displays. People used to say they look like UFOs. This was taken at State College a few years ago. There's the scope clouds that we were looking at earlier. But trust me, if you were this close to a tornado, it would be rapidly circulating like a blender. It would be unbelievable.
And again, if you're storm chasing at all, guys, okay, remember the lightning will come out of those 9 times out of 10, okay? Because they're close to the ground. It's physics, okay?
This is just kind of a neat picture I took of a thunderstorm in the evening that was lit by the sunset, and that's actually the moon there. And the upper level winds had caught the edge of the storm and kind of pushed it off to the left. These are some more of the asperatus clouds like
Okay,
Ron showed.
yeah, these clouds, you see how they're all like highlighted? We have a program that we utilize called HDR, high definition resolution, and it basically just brings out the picture so you can see the clouds.
There's another shelf cloud at State College.
When was that taken?
That was the same day as the time lapse. I think that was from the same storm, June 25th last year. I cheated a little bit
That's
here.
when you were, that's
Yeah.
when you were in state college.
I was there for the weather camp.
I cheated a little bit. This is not Pennsylvania. This is New York City. This is another example of something that looks like a tornado, but it's not. This was simply a column of air that was rising up from the ground, giving birth to a cloud. But could be easily mistaken from a tornado. That was taken in North Carolina a long time ago. It's a rainbow. There's a picture included in your packet. Rainbow picture that Elliot Abrams at AccuWeather took and signed for you.
This way. There you go. Okay, thanks. That's good.
When Ron and I take lightning pictures, this is generally how it ends up, just barely off screen. And then you point your camera that direction, the next one's on the right. So that's the luck of weather photography. All right, Ron, if you want to quickly get through some of the...
What was the other video you had in queue? There was the lightning one and the rolling fog.
Oh, yeah, let me show
Okay,
you.
this
I'm sorry.
video, okay, is probably the rarest event. It's really super rare.
This is a bizarre
And
Pennsylvania.
I've gotten 4 explanations of what causes it, but basically, I like to say that it's called rolling thunder. And there were some people up on a mountain that day when it happened, and I had a lady get down on her knees almost. She thought the end of the world was...
This is really blurry.
Okay?
This is really blurry, I apologize, but if you watch this area of fog here, it's going to roll in over the mountain and then up the mountain. And it was basically being pushed by the humid air from the thunderstorm.
Now you got the downburst coming in, so the gust front's coming up, being created, okay, because of the cold air coming down from the gust front. And the humidity this day was real high. It was like 98%.
Yeah,
And the dew point was high. It was really, really...
Well, here it comes. All right, it's going to rise out over the mountain here. Come up toward us. This again is a time lapse, so this is over like what, 20 minutes probably?
Yeah,
15, 20 minutes.
Right.
where the fog, right, is being pushed up over the mountain by the air coming out of the thunderstorm. It basically goes over the mountain, down in the valley, and then back up over the mountain where Ron was. It looked really scary, but it was just fog.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You just don't normally see fog move that fast.
Something else we want to share with you here. We have, before I do my safety part, we have videos, online videos you can all go to on our AccuWeather site, and we have videos from all over the state. Okay, we have one here at the center now. We put in today. We have the horseshoe curve.
Yeah, this is a live webcam that we just installed today of the Weather Discovery Center, right out there, right before you came inside. Just take a couple seconds to load up. And these live webcams are done with the home monitor webcam, which is something that you just hook up to your Wi-Fi and it starts broadcasting, which is pretty neat. Of course, there's nobody out there because you're all in here, but
Yeah.
let me see if I can pull up the horseshoe curve. Go ahead, Ron, while I'm pulling that up.
Okay. Some of the things I want to share with you is, again, in Pennsylvania, there's so much it can be photographed, okay? There really is. And if you have a camera, don't be afraid to use it. You know, I'm dangerous, okay? Jesse knows that, okay?
Thank goodness for digital cameras because you
Right.
can take as many pictures as you want.
I mean, there's Jesse, then there's me. I'm the example of the worst storm chaser there is. Okay, why? Because I have my kneecap on the steering wheel, okay? All right? I kid you, now don't do that, okay? But usually,
Kids, don't try this at home.
right, I have my camera in my hand going down the highway, capturing pictures, okay? We
Here,
need,
horseshoes up.
okay, that's the horseshoe curve cam, okay? We have cameras we're utilizing now called GoPro and Ion, okay? They're a compact, there's my Ion right back here on the mount, on a tripod, okay? That's the Ion camera. Like the GoPro, but the Ion will last 3 or 4 hours, and but the GoPro is good for only about 20 minutes, okay?
And we do have a GoPro out in the lobby that we can show
And
you.
we're probably gonna put the GoPro on the Phantom, okay? This is the Phantom that we use, the quadcopter, okay? The quadcopter can fly to 2,000 feet, all right? They are legal. The FAA says they're not legal, but they are legal, okay? There's no law in the book saying we can't fly an RC helicopter, which is all it is. We attach the GoPro underneath, and it can go up and it can film anything that we want it to film. We've already taken it by windmills, and we've already photographed windmills up close and personal with the Phantom.
You want to talk about safety stuff?
Yep. Okay, this is my home version of a safety bag, okay? Everybody should have their own safety kit in your home. I don't care where you live. The reason we have a safety kit, okay, is in here I have everything that I need in case of a disaster. I got food, I've got water, I have a water bottle in my other bag where I can purify water, all right? I'll put this out in the lobby here so you guys can see it. Jesse was talking about the escape tool, okay? This is a really good tool to have in your vehicle for safety reasons. If you ever end up in the water, you can cut your seatbelt. But more importantly, if you got a cut free, you're gonna have it. I'll pass it around, but it has a hammer where you can break the window to escape. Just so you can look at it.
There's also a basic first aid kit in there.
I got, and I'll put it out there, but I have, it has a poncho, it has a raincoat, I have my rope, my flashlights, I've got everything that I need, okay, to be protected, okay? Some of the stuff that we just got to review, but from Weatherite, okay, we have our lanterns, okay? I'm big on safety. I mean, especially when I'm storm chasing, I'm parked off the highway. I don't want to be smugged, okay? And I had a drunk driver last year come within inches of pancaking me. Because he was drunk, he came around the curve, and he was hitting the guardrail. And I mean, I actually jumped up out of the way from being killed, okay? So, as I tell people, a lot of times you're storm chasing, it's not the weather that can get you, but it's the highways will get you, okay? You can look at these, we have these little lights that are all LED lights, okay? I use this a lot for safety reasons, okay? Real simple to use. I'll mount this to my car, I turn it on, okay? The fire sale is new. It's a light, an onboard light. It's also a heater, okay? It warms up your hands, okay?
You're showing a couple of these capstone things on
Yeah.
pull them up on the back.
Okay? For home use, okay? Capstone came out with a really neat product. In your home, if you lose power, you want to have a flashlight available, okay? This is this is the headlamp version, and the other version right here from Capstone for power failure is a built-in flashlight. Okay, it's getting hot. You plug it in, when power goes out, the flashlight turns on. You can also take the flashlight out and use it as a flashlight, all right? Now these are also brand new here. Some of the companies have sent us some samples. This is from Nebo, okay? Nebo has flashlights that are designed for search and rescue and for storm chasers, all right? An all aluminum case, and they're LED, but the technology today with LED, the lights are really strong, okay? And LED lasts longer than a normal incandescent light bulb, all right? Very, very durable. You could drive on this thing, throw it off the wall, and it's not gonna break. Okay? Let me pass this around. You can see how hot that's getting.
Don't try that.
And shopping.
Yeah.
That's for Groundhog Day.
Okay. One of the companies, okay? I always carry a spotlight with me, okay? Only reason because sometimes if we're in a weather condition, not only am I photographing the weather, the impending danger, what if danger occurs this nighttime? What if something happens and I have to become the rescuee and I have to rescue somebody, okay? I keep all my gear with me, all right?
All right, we only got a few more minutes left.
Okay,
Let's take some questions.
okay. One last thing we'll show real quick,
Okay.
okay? If you get a chance, look up Wise Company, W-I-S-E, okay? They manufacture safety kits, but they also have this kit right here, okay? It's good for a week. They give you all the food and water you need. They give you a bottle that you can take dirty water, put it in here. It makes it clean and drinkable. First aid kit. Again, I just strongly recommend it because you just never know when it's going to happen. And tornadoes have occurred in our state. Flooding has occurred. We've had a lot of snow this year. How many people this year lost power for a week or two? Okay? So it's always good. And even if you're in a vehicle and you come across a disaster, it's just always good to have your emergency kit with you. All right?
So, do you guys have any questions about tornadoes, severe weather, or weather in general? We'll take those now. Anything you ever wondered?
Well, when was the last tornado in Pennsylvania?
Last year.
Yeah, there's usually a handful every year. We actually had one in Center County last year in July, a small one.
We had that one that came up from Ligonier last year, and then that's the one that I filmed last year. It came from Ligonier and it followed the ridge up, and I got lucky and it dropped down twice right in front of me. So.
Wow.
Or unlucky.
Yeah, well, when I was born and raised in Michigan, and but my mother was born here, and she wanted to move back here, and I didn't want to move, and the way that she got me happy about moving was tell me that there were no tornadoes in Pennsylvania because Michigan had a lot of tornadoes.
Yeah.
Because it's flat out
There's
there.
definitely less tornadoes in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
but unfortunately not none.
No, because then we moved back here, and 2 years later, there was a tornado.
Yeah.
It had big run, I don't know.
Well, that
I
one
drove through there on the way here.
That one tornado, me and Jesse drove down a day later. The one that occurred down in down below Latrobe. Where was that at?
No, that was the one, that was a Greenville, Pennsylvania.
Greenville, yeah, Greenville, down below the road, yeah.
Yeah, we went and looked at the damage.
And it was bad. It
Could
was
you
bad.
talk about the one that hit the Kinzu? Was that a tornado or was that just a?
Tornado.
Was that? Okay.
Yeah. And the sad part about Kinzu, I don't think it was a tornado that, I mean, it was, but the reason the Kinzu fell,
Yeah.
the bolts that hold the bridge together, instead of them being, we'll say, an inch big, they were now a tenth of an inch big. They were all corroded away.
Oh, yeah.
The rivets were all corroded, you know. And the scary part, I was on that bridge on the train a year prior to that. And I got to thinking, oh my gosh, I mean, we're lucky nobody was on the bridge when it come down.
Yeah.
And Jesse had pictures of it to show, you know, we had it mapped out where the tornado come through, hit it, and it just twisted and down it came.
Yeah, if you haven't been up to see that, it's really cool because they left all the damage, like all the twisted metal and everything there. And you can actually, if you want to hike down a really steep hill, you can hike down and even look at that.
And it actually is the highest bridge in Pennsylvania. It was the highest bridge, railroad bridge in the country, I think. So yeah, pretty impressive.
Any other questions?
I got one.
Yeah.
When you were throwing one of the pictures, it was at one to my over in the corner.
There was a tornado all the way in the corner of one of your pictures.
Yeah.
Are you asking a question, baby?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember that one.
I don't think so.
It was,
I think most of what we showed was just scary
Yeah.
clouds.
You know. Now understand, you know, you don't need a tornado to cause damage, okay? When these gust fronts come through, okay, a gust front can generate, I've already clocked winds over 74, 75 mile an hour winds, more than that. I mean, my truck one day on the highway, when it hit on Chicory, you gotta remember, Chicory's up in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing between me and Pittsburgh. It's all open air, okay? I'm looking, on a clear night, if I have a storm in Pittsburgh, I can see the lightning in Pittsburgh. It's rare, but I can see it, okay?
Yeah, if you have a good view, you can
Right.
see it, and it's.
But what happens, the
it's
gust
good
front comes
visibility.
in and it coming up the mountain like you talked about. The mountains absolutely kill storms, but there's rare occasions that before the storm dies, I'm getting the brunt of it, okay? That storm, all that gust front's coming up the mountain, okay? And it's already moved my truck across the highway, you know, so it is bad. You know, we talk about the dangers of storm chasing. You know, if you get a 50 mile an hour wind gust and you got pea-sized hailstones in there, that hurts. Let me tell you what, it hurts. If it can dent my car hood, what's it gonna do to my face, okay? I'm serious. I mean, there's no, people saying up on Chicory, people see me on TV, so they're coming up to my vista to overlook, right? And I had a guy up there last year. The lady had an umbrella. And there's lightning all over the place, right? And there she is holding this big golfing umbrella. And I'm yelling, lady, you know, and I'm like, I don't care if you want to die. I just don't want to be killed because of you, you know, doing stupid stuff, you know? And it'll happen. Basically, yeah, there's just a lot of weather to film and photograph. And people say, well, why do it? Why would you want to waste your time photographing lightning, okay? Me, it's my rush, okay? I've been in 2 hurricanes in the Navy, all right, where I've seen the movie, the Perfect Storm. I've seen that out there, okay, and it's for real, okay. I've been hit on a ship probably over 150 times by lightning. Because you're a big metal ship in the ocean, you're going to get hit. I've been close to 4 or 5 big strikes in my lifetime, all right. Yes, you go deaf. Yes, you'll bleed. Yes, it hurts. It tingles, okay? And I don't care who you are, you cannot outrun lightning, okay? Jesse, if he sees a strike of lightning, guess what? He's in his car. Me, right?
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
Ron, don't do what Ron does.
Right. But, you know, the thing is, how do we capture lightning? If you're in a car, how can you capture lightning, okay? I'll show you outside later. Our cameras have the ability where you can set up your camera, you can put a raincoat around it. We have the GoPro and the Ion. We can photograph remotely. I can put a timer on it. I can sit there with a timer and do it. Real quick, do you guys have any questions about learning how to shoot lightning at all? Do you have any questions about learning how to do that? What's the easiest way to capture lightning today? Seriously.
Video, just leave the video running.
Right, let a video run, right? I mean, really, the quality's gonna be but if you got a video camera, just let it run, okay? When you
People
play-
even get pictures of lightning with their iPhones. I'm always amazed. They just
Yeah.
keep clicking their iPhone camera button and sometimes get pictures.
and then you can just take your video, crop it out of the film, you know? But Jesse's shooting a point to shoot. I'm using an SLR, okay? And it's really simple to use an SLR camera. They're really, people overcomplicate them. I don't do that. They're real simple to use them with a timer, and you can capture almost anything.
Yeah, don't think Ron sits out there all night taking those meteor photos. He puts his camera outside, puts the timer on, and goes to bed.
Yeah,
I thought he never slept or, you know.
yeah. Now, the thing is, with my camera, I'll show you outside, I have to put a heater on my camera lens. Otherwise,
That is true.
Otherwise, it would freeze up, okay?
And
Condensation on the lens.
yeah, you get condensation, and that's what that's for too.
Right.
But thanks everybody for coming out. I know some of you came from a long way away.
Now, if anybody has questions about the equipment they have out there, you guys
Yeah.
wanna be out in the lobby for a
Yeah.
little bit?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you guys ever end up in State College, let me know and I'll give you a tour back to where their headquarters